Brian and Kenzie in the morning. And Chicago's alternative all day.
Q101.
It's Brian and Kenzie on Q101. Special treat for you today as Case, the producer, will do his movie review today. And during Spooktober, they're all Halloween classics. So Case has not seen many movies until we started doing this feature where if you're new to the show, before 8 months ago, he hadn't seen like Shawshank Redemption or Pulp Fiction or what else? Varsity Blues, The Mummy.
Twister.
Point Break. Point Break. Roadhouse.
Yeah.
He's now seen all these, and he's a better person for it. He knows this. And October is horror movie month, so the classics, Friday the 13th, coming up. Now, before we do that, a 20-second aside for you here before we get to the review, because...
hit me with it.
How about this?
We've no place to go. Let it snow, let it snow, let it snow.
We like to call this a programming note.
Wait, can I say something really fast?
Sure.
I thought you were about to play the movie trailer for Friday the 13th. And I'm like, what? I didn't think it started that happy. So, okay, now we're back on track. Go,
People screaming
go.
over this.
Yeah.
So we've gotten about 100,000 calls and texts and DMs about when we're going to announce Q101's Twisted Christmas 24, greatest concert event series of all time. And we are going to do it now, not today, but exactly at this time, 8 o'clock on Tuesday, October 15th, 8 a.m., we will announce Q101's Twisted Christmas 2024. So right now, just put that in your phone because you probably drive around this time. You'll be here around that time Tuesday. Just a reminder to be here for it, and the pre-sale will start right then for tickets. It's going to be ridiculous. So be here Tuesday at 8 a.m. for the Q101 Twisted Christmas 2024 announcement. Now let's get to it. Now let's get to Case's movie review of Friday the 13th. And we'll start how we always start with the trailer of the movie. So this movie was 1980, right, Case?
That's correct.
1980. And when people were sitting around their living rooms, had no idea who Jason was, a guy in a hockey mask killing people.
Icon,
This
some may say.
This trailer came on their television.
I'd had this dream. I'm in a thunderstorm, and it's raining really hard. Sounds like pebbles when it hits the ground. I try to block out the sound with my hands, only it doesn't work. It just keeps getting louder and louder.
Oh, boy.
And the rain turns to blood.
Blood.
It's just a dream.
Are you crazy?
We ain't gonna stand for no weirdness out here.
Hello?
Did you know that a young boy drowned here? His name was Jason, and today is his birthday.
This place is cursed. You're doomed if you stay here.
It's not funny anymore. It's not funny at all. They're all dead. And he's still there.
Now, just for the record, that's what I thought was going to happen when you started playing the Christmas music.
I got to say, that trailer started off, in my opinion, kind of weak. I think they chose a kind of a wrong spot to do. And I was just texting a little bit. Yeah, during the trailer, Teresa in Bloomingdale said the same thing. Like, I don't remember it like that. And then the trailer did build and pay off. So Teresa in Bloomingdale, I want you to sit back. She, by the way, she told me she's a Friday the 13th fanatic, has a Friday the 13th tattoo on her back. On her back.
What does that say about her?
She has a hockey
Now, is it the corpse that comes out of the water tattooed on her? Or what is it exactly?
I mean, Teresa in Bloomingdale, please text us your tattoo. If anybody else has a Friday the 13th tattoo, a Jason
I would love
tattoo,
to see it. I have to be honest.
please text your tattoos in at
Love it.
312-591-8300. Please do that right now. But so, Case, you've seen Friday the 13th, one of the Mount Rushmore of horror movies. What's your review?
Well, we started a few weeks ago with The Shining. We did Saw. Last week I did Scream. And a lot of those movies were okay. I didn't mind Saw. I kind of liked Scream. The Shining was just loud. It was loud and it was long. That movie wasn't for
loud.
me.
No one has ever reviewed The Shining.
Very
It's
loud.
That's too loud.
Yeah, it's just loud.
Ugh.
Oh, God, it's like a Deftones concert. It was loud.
Oh, my God.
Friday the 13th. This is what I'm talking about. This is what I've been waiting for. I was finally scared. Some would say terrified.
Mm-hmm.
But God, was this movie fun to watch. The problem, and I'm going to get this out of the way first.
Oh, no.
The problem I have with
Why is there got to be a problem?
Just enjoy things.
The problem I have with it, I hate to victim blame. Generation Z, I'd like to think I'm a part of the solution,
Oh, boy.
not a part of the problem. Everybody in this movie that died deserved to die. It is both a strength and a weakness of Friday the 13th that they did not listen to warnings. They did not use common sense. They took forever to kill certain people that were attacking them. Everybody in this movie that died deserved to die, and we're going to go through it one by one, okay?
Holy cow.
Can I ask you, though, did you recognize Kevin Bacon?
I did recognize Kevin Bacon because we did Dirty Dancing a few months ago.
That's right. Okay.
No. Kevin Bacon's not in Dirty Dancing. You're thinking of Patrick Swayze.
What's Kevin Bacon in?
Well, he's been in everything else.
What's the dancing movie? Footloose, thank you.
Oh,
Thank you.
Footloose,
And
yeah.
we did Footloose.
I was already there with it.
I forgot we did Footloose.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, so I did recognize Kevin Bacon. He's in everything else.
Oh, the 6 degrees of Kevin Bacon.
Okay. All right. Here's the thing.
Yep.
I've never been camping. I've never been to camp.
Yes.
Of course this is what happens if you go to the woods. Especially, by the way, in the 70s when nobody knows anything or has any means of communication. What did you think was going to happen? I'm surprised this wasn't a documentary.
Now, no spoiler alert here. It's not Jason doing the killing in the first movie.
Yes, and let's table that because I have a question
Okay.
about that.
Because I was going to say that, so you just had some mom with a Karen haircut killing all the kids.
Yeah.
You think that's normal in the 70s, too?
Well, yeah. Again, I've always thought about this. The more movies I go back and watch, the older movies, I go, man, crime used to be so easy to commit. Like, I watched Point Break, and I was like, I could have robbed a bank in the 80s. They had basically no cameras at these banks. Of course they pulled off bank robberies.
Yeah, security guys eating donuts.
Exactly. No,
Yeah.
It used to be very, very easy to commit crime. Thank you, Patriot Act, for ruining that.
All right, go ahead.
So Friday the 13th, first of all, you have the woman who's hitchhiking her way there. And first of all, could you imagine hitchhiking? What an awful thing to do.
It's unbelievable she didn't die on the way.
Thank you. Yeah. What, I would be on the side of the road with my thumb up, and I'm just going to expect everything to work out okay?
Okay, but before you two go off on that, as a Gen Xer, I had the people that were in the generation older than me used to talk about hitchhiking and how cool it was and how awesome it was to get places without using your own gas and your own car.
I don't know, man.
It's like Dumb and Dumber. Hitchhiker, pick him up.
I would have just assumed that the murder rate for hitchhikers, especially teenage girl hitchhikers, was 100%.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
When she gets in a Jeep that is going approximately 300 miles an hour.
It starts off the speed limit.
Then
it becomes Kenzie driving from Elgin to work all of a sudden.
It's enough.
In a Jeep,
I
no
was
less.
vindicated. I was vindicated of that.
Right.
She jumps out of the moving Jeep. She lands headfirst on a rock, which I just want to point out. And then
I thought you were talking about me still, sorry. I'm like, I did not.
No, settle down, battery sucker. So, she lands headfirst on a rock. She gets chased through the woods, and then she gets murdered. Of course that's what happened. What else would you expect? I cannot imagine hitchhiking in the modern day, although I guess Ubering's not that different.
Are you really going to go through every person and say why they deserve to die? I'm just curious. There's about 14 kids that got killed. I'm just curious if we're going through all of them.
You're making it longer.
let me lump in all the teenagers that were already at camp together because it's so messed up that this bike cop comes through the camp, right? And he goes, hey, we heard reports of this crazy guy preaching the good word. And then when you actually see the crazy guy, he says, this place is cursed. You need to get out of here. You will not survive. And they laugh at this old man and kick him into the dust. What is wrong with these kids? Listen to the old man, please. So it's not surprising, by the way, when they all die because the old man warned them.
What a creepy cinematic genius it was with him when he rides away on his bike.
Yeah.
He goes, you're all gonna die. Yeah. And then they show him ride the bike for about 30 seconds, just his pause and the screen like, That guy's probably on to something.
Yeah.
He's not crazy. The town crazy guy's not crazy.
There's great elements of creepiness. Of course, the way the camera is in the woods as all the kids are in the water and it looks like somebody's watching them. That's great. There's the scene at the diner with the oldest camp counselor and the camera shows him like you think he might be the killer. It looks like he's going to kill that old lady in the diner for just a second.
Yeah.
It's really an eerie, creepy movie and then you mix in teenage sex on top of that, and there's just a lot going on. It's a really chaotic movie. It really is.
Well, as a very young child seeing this movie, it is great because it's got nudity and sex, but it's got violence. It's got.
I don't. It was interesting that you said, as a young kid watching this, it's great because none of that should have followed that statement.
Imagine being whatever-year-old Brian, I don't know when I saw this, sneaking in to watch Showtime late at night to watch this when my parents were asleep, and I watched this like at 1 a.m.
How old do you think you were?
I think I was like, I don't know when it was reruns on, let's say HBO, probably like 7 or 8.
Good heavens.
Yeah, I used to sneak down and watch. We had Showtime, and I used to sneak down and watch movies like this at night. And it was great. It had sex, violence.
It was everything you could ask for.
Also a killer.
Exactly. So,
supernatural stuff.
A really enjoyable movie. I will say Alice, who is the woman that has the Luke Skywalker haircut.
Wait, which one's she?
She's the surviving one.
Oh, the last girl. Okay.
Yeah, but she's got this awful haircut that was so distracting throughout the entire movie.
Did you say Luke Skywalker?
Yeah, she looks like Luke Skywalker.
She actually kind of still has the same haircut. Adrian King, she still has it.
Brian, Google Alice Friday the 13th. She looks like Luke Skywalker.
Oh my God, I'm never going to unsee that. Also, Kenzie's right. She still looks like that.
It's still the same,
At 64 years old. Wow.
Good for her.
Yeah.
So, I guess I'm confused because Jason is not really in this movie. It's Jason's mom that's the killer.
He makes a small appearance at the end.
He makes a small appearance at the end, but not in the hockey mask. Where does the hockey mask come in? I was waiting for that the entire movie, and then some old bag came out and tried to kill Alice. And by the way, Alice couldn't have taken longer to put this woman out of her misery. She knocks her to the ground like 3 different times, and Alice's plan is to hop in a canoe and hope for the best. Just kill the old lady while you have the chance.
Yeah.
Yes.
Or leave.
There's a lot of things in here. There's some holes in the storyline.
It is interesting because it's not like a river or an ocean. No. A canoe in a lake is a very interesting choice during a murder. You're going to just go in a few directions and they can see all of them.
It's weird. It's like she's stuck in an online Call of Duty map that she can't leave because she has a chance to free herself. And she's just hanging out at camp still.
Yeah. The amazing thing, and as you now know, there's a continuation of this series, and we'll get to your review here in a second. Unless there's anything else you want to add.
That's plenty.
Because
everybody deserved to die. That's the review.
I mean, we live in an area, which is rare because we have a Crystal Lake here in Chicago. And I've always wondered, people that grew up there, because I didn't, what it was like with this movie existing and the weird things. People put to pull stunts up there in Crystal Lake.
I thought the same thing, absolutely.
That's one thought in my head, and people can check in on that. The other thought is, Case, you'll find out, and I know Kenzie knows this because she's seen the movies like I have, the rest of them. They always send one cop. The body count at Crystal Lake has to be over 100 by now.
Yes.
And they go, you're getting another call about a supernatural killer at Crystal Lake. They send
these damn kids.
Yeah, one incompetent cop always shows up.
And he's a bike cop this time, not even a real cop.
Sucks.
The later ones has a car.
Okay, at least give me a horse. At least give me a horse. It's unbelievable.
And they all know what happens, but no one wants to tell the kids, you shouldn't go in here. They want to say, just go ahead, let it go.
Kids never listen.
I think they're all afraid of Jason so bad that they don't want to upset the apple cart and have them get killed.
You know what? This isn't my business. This is you got them all ruffled up. You know what's also interesting is we have a Crystal Lake here. In case you haven't watched it yet, but Halloween, which you will watch, spoiler alert, takes place in Illinois.
Yes.
Oh. There's a lot of Illinois ties to crime. Now, this Crystal Lake's in New Jersey, but we have a Crystal Lake.
Yeah.
So I don't need anyone it's in New Jersey. We have a Crystal Lake. Halloween took place. And it's a made-up town in Illinois.
Yeah.
Remember. Yeah.
Yep.
It's just we have a lot of spooky ties.
Yeah.
We also have a Sleepy Hollow.
Yeah, we do.
Illinois is just spooktacular.
We really are.
Well, Brian, that's a really great point. You think about all the times in recent years cops have been sent with riot gear to small situations, and they're like, yeah, here's the guy with the mustache and the shorts. He can figure this out.
I mean,
Reno 911 shows up. Thanks a lot.
I mean, I was driving 37 with that speed camera on Irving Park, and the SWAT team showed up.
That's right.
They sent
Guns drawn.
They sent the one incompetent cop to stop the supernatural killer that can't be killed.
Wow.
Well, who are you going to send? You're not going to send your best guy because you're obviously going to lose him.
They don't want to lose the best guy.
Yeah, you can't do that. He's got to do other stuff.
I'm really glad you loved this.
I really did.
This defines horror to me, Friday the 13th.
It does.
This first movie defines horror movies to me. I love The Shining to death, and I think it's probably the greatest horror movie of all time. But Friday the 13th, the first movie, scared the bejesus out of me.
I found this movie to be appropriately scary. It wasn't super gory, although I will say during the scenes where the bodies are unveiled, those kids look so dead, and those murders are so gruesome.
Yes.
That's in my notes. Is wow, Kevin Bacon looks dead right now.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But
no, they did.
It really hit the sweet spot of exactly what I was hoping for with these movies. This is the best one I've seen so far.
Ooh.
I will give this 8 hockey masks out of 10.
Good.
A double thumbs up for Friday the 13th. If you've never seen it, man, I cannot recommend it enough.
You've really got to watch it when he goes to space and then also goes against Freddy. And
He goes to space.
We'll get to that. Let him watch Halloween first.
Yeah.
We'll get to the space ones later.
Well, let him eat a sandwich first and just settle down.
Let things soak in.
All right, if you missed any of that, if you came in on the end, it'll be on the podcast, the entire Friday the 13th original movie review from Case the Producer.
The Brian and Kenzie Show.
On Q101.
The Brian and Kenzie Show.
On Q101.
Well, we have Head to Headlines on the way where you decide the content. We've compiled the funniest headlines of the week. We'll read 2 of them after Blink-182, and then you decide the content, like which story you want to hear more about. That's coming up in a few minutes here, but we're not done with Friday the 13th. Case the Producer just did an outstanding review and analysis of the first original Friday the 13th movie and loved it. 8 out of 10 hockey masks he gave the movie, which begged his question, when does the hockey mask appear? Because in the first movie, it's the only one he's seen, there's no hockey mask. As I remember, and I had to actually remember it to myself, Friday the 13th Part 2, no hockey mask either. He wears like a sandbag. And then 3 is where he ends up with the hockey mask. And of course, we know that for the next 11 or 8, 10
So basically,
movies.
that's the Mandela effect, because I'm like, he always had a hockey mask. Like, that's what that is.
Yeah. So it's Friday the 13th 3. I do want to read a text real quick of, and this came from what you mentioned, Kenzie, about Crystal Lake, Illinois.
Yes.
Hillary checked in and said, I'm glad I got my kid to school on time because he's 1,000% convinced that it's our Crystal Lake, which is where his dad lives. So his dad
is Jason Voorhees.
Yeah, that's it. He thinks his dad
evil
is
father.
Jason Voorhees.
I was also talking about how, as a whole, Illinois has a lot of spookiness attached to it. Like Halloween takes place in a made-up city in Illinois.
Yes.
We have a Crystal Lake. We have a Sleepy Hollow. We have all these things, right? I didn't know this. Hula Hoop Alley texted in and said one of the most recent Nightmare on Elm Street movies, the pool scene in it, was filmed at the Barrington High School.
Oh.
I didn't know that.
Huh.
And then Poltergeist was filmed in the Hancock Building, and I didn't know that either.
What?
Now, I'll tell you something. I didn't fact check either of these people. I am just believing texters.
Poltergeist in the Hancock Building?
Maybe now I should Google it.
Because it's in a house, but I mean, wow. I worked in the Hancock Building back in the day, in the sludge days at Rock 103.5 back there. Wish I would have known that back then. Case also asked me in the commercial break, well, wait, how many movies are there, and how can it not end after a couple?
Yeah, because...
Oh, I see. Poltergeist 3 was filmed there. Didn't see that one.
I saw 2, but I didn't see 3. I'll have to go back and watch it.
And it was the John Hancock Center.
Got it. Okay, so... Yeah, Case was wondering, how can this keep going so long? Well, let me give you the titles kind of give the storylines very similar to Head to Headline.
Okay.
So Friday the 13th.
Here we go.
That came out in 1980. Friday the 13th Part 2, 81. Friday the 13th Part 3, 82. They saw a gold mine and kept making a movie once a year.
No kidding.
Okay, we're finally going to end this thing in 84. Friday the 13th, The Final Chapter. Great name for a movie. Maybe should have ended there. Nope. Friday the 13th, A New Beginning. Friday the 13th, Part 6, Jason Lives.
Obviously.
Friday the 13th, Part 7, New Blood. And I'm trying to remember the theme of that one. I can't remember what the New Blood is.
Probably a new killer.
But the one you have to see, and maybe you skip right to this one, Case, is Friday the 13th, Part 8, Jason Takes Manhattan.
What is he in Sex and the City now?
That's what they did with all the Kardashians. Remember, like when they would do City spinoff? Like Kim and Khloe take Miami. Like that's what they did.
Oh, it's perfect.
I imagine him like apartment shopping.
Yeah,
and, like
Tim and Kim Cattrall together.
Yeah, and like filming like his dinner and putting it on Instagram.
He goes to like the Comedy Cellar one night. He does an open mic.
Yeah, he's like, oh my God, Jason, I love your work.
He basically gets there through a boat from Crystal Lake. He stowaways on a boat. And he gets to Manhattan.
What a busy, like, I don't know, ghost. I don't know what you want to call him, but just like rest. You know what I mean?
I can understand the small town cops not taking out Jason, but come on, the New York cops.
NYPD Blue, baby. Come on now.
They're like, get in line, you know?
I mean, they're shoot first, ask questions later in New York. Come on. Take out Jason.
I did not say that, Brian.
It's New York.
Come on now. It's New York.
But that wasn't done there. Then the next movie was Jason Goes to Hell, the final Friday.
Finally.
The final Friday. That's 9. Then, of course, the 10th movie was called Jason X. That's in 2002. Then came one of my favorites of all time when you start doing a cross plot. What do they call that? When a crossover. A crossover. August 15th, 2003, you had Freddy versus Jason. So Freddy Krueger.
And you know what pops into my head? It's kind of like when Disney did this and the character would walk on, everyone would go, woo!
Yeah.
You know, like Freddy coming in, everyone's like, oh my God, Freddy is here.
Well, I remember seeing that in the theater, and I do remember exactly what you just said,
Yeah,
Kenzie.
right?
People cheered when Freddy showed up.
Stop it.
So you think it'd be done there, right?
You'd think.
Freddy versus Jason. They kind of did say, I think we've done everything. They didn't. They waited 6 years, and there was just one called Friday the 13th, which was kind of a reboot of just the original movie with just new people.
What if they reboot all of them?
Well,
with the new people?
It's funny you say that because there's one on hold right now to be announced. So that would be 15 years after that last Friday the 13th, which is a great movie. I saw that one. It was really good. It's just called Friday the 13th. Again, there's no title, and it says TBA, so there could be a 13th movie on the way for Friday the 13th.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, it was delightful watching the first one. For those that are maybe not in their cars on Friday, normally we do this Friday at 8 o'clock. We thought we'd give a treat to the Wednesday people. So I guess next year I'll maybe just review a bunch of Friday the 13th in the month of October.
You're going to be very busy.
Also, 708 checked in, and I can't remember exactly all of Jason Takes Manhattan. Apparently he does. He says, if you think Jason in New York is weird, Michael Myers gets beat up by Busta Rhymes at one point. I don't know if he means Jason Voorhees, or does Michael Myers fight Busta Rhymes in one of the Halloween movies?
Does?
We have fact check that too.
A lot of fact checking today. We were putting a lot of faith in the text.
Because there's also a crap load of Halloween movies. There's so many different ones. Rob Zombie got involved with the franchise for a while.
I like that.
Halloween movie.
Yes, Halloween Resurrection. Busta Rhymes kills Michael Myers.
I don't remember that.
And if anybody could do it.
It would be Busta.
So Halloween Resurrection came out in 2002.
At the height of Busta Rhymes, that makes sense.
But to be clear, there's been 5 movies since, including Halloween.
God, there's just a YouTube snippet that's 2 minutes, and I just want to play it so bad. I have no idea what's in it. It just says Busta Rhymes versus Michael Myers. And boy, do I just want to click on it and raw dog this audio so bad.
Now, they might be done because Halloween Ends came out in 2022, but then again, we know how Friday the 13th said a new beginning.
Yeah.
And there's been
Michael Myers resurrected once again. It's
yeah,
like, okay.
There's been some reboots, so there you go. That's had to go through that. Kenzie, you enjoy the Busta Rhymes beating up Michael Myers, killing him.
Can we just listen to it? We'll go, like play a song or something, listen to it, and then if it's okay, can we just share?
Okay, here's what I'll do. We're supposed to head to headlines right now. Every Wednesday we do it, but let's do that. I'll play blank. When we come back, we can push head to headlines just a little bit. Stay put. Stay right here.
Smidgen.
I think it's kind of important to find out.
It's so important.
It's really important.
This is why we're journalists.
This is priority. You have to, when there's breaking news, Brian.
Yeah.
About a movie that came out in 2002.
Yeah. Busta Rhymes killed Michael Myers, and you're just gonna brush over it?
I cannot slough over that. So after blank, we'll watch it, and then we'll play some of it for you when we come back.
The Brian and Kenzie Show.
On Q 101.
The Brian and Kenzie Show.
on Q101.
It's Brian and Kenzie on Q101. So we've done Case's Friday the 13th movie review of the original movie. That'll be up at the podcast later if you missed it. Then we talked about all of the Friday the 13th and Halloween movies. We got into that a little bit. They both have 10-plus movies. And someone reminded us that in Halloween Resurrection, Busta Rhymes kills Michael Myers. Now, I've gone to YouTube and done the analysis of the tape. A lot of swearing from Busta Rhymes. I can't get this on the air.
Yep, no, that's accurate.
It's too tight. Also, a lot of video and fire. There is a line, it's correct, by the way, and Busta Rhymes, once he takes out Michael Myers, which I'm sure comes back because there's a lot of movies, of course, says, trick or treat, mother effer.
That's good. That's a good line.
It's almost like Bruce Willis in Die Hard, yippee-ki-yay, mother effer. It's just about as much power there. So I can't play any of the audio.
It's pretty bad. It's a pretty rough audio.
That's a 20-year-old movie. We just discovered that, or at least I forgot that scene, and I appreciate our listeners that reminded us of that.
Iconic.
Thank you for your service. All right, let's move forward. Head to headlines. We'll give you 2 headlines, and you choose one of them that you want us to break down. You decide the content. We'll give you those headlines after No Doubt. Brian and Kenzie on Q101.
Brian and Kenzie in the morning. And Chicago's alternative all day.
Q101.